In this day and age, it is foolish to say that social media does not have lasting effects on our society. Since the development of the mobile smartphone in 2007, we have had tiny computers at our fingertips everywhere we go. When we are traveling, we have our phones. When we are grocery shopping, we have our phones. When we are in school or at a business meeting, we have our phones. Even when we are in the bathroom, we have our phones. Sometimes having our phones glued to the palm of our hands adds convenience to our lives, with the creation of GPS, mobile texting, and constant access to the internet. But one of the most common uses of our cell phones, that oftentimes gets a bad rep, is the use of social media sites. Social media sites, according to Merriam-Webster, are forms of electronic communication through which users create online communities to share information, ideas, personal messages, and other content. So how could such a simple and seemingly entertaining creative outlet be so harmful? Well, those opposed to the idea of these sites believe that they're taking over our lives, giving individuals the opportunity to create false personas and also offer the possibility for online predators. But that is a rather controversial subject that I do not wish to discuss. And instead, I am choosing to explore one of the most beneficial aspects of social media sites' existence. Besides the constant entertainment, easy connection to friends or family far and wide, and a virtual sketchpad for creative expression, social media sites offer one extremely useful outlet that is oftentimes overlooked. Social media marketing. Assuming you, my listener, is an avid social media user, what if I told you that you could make a living off of your Instagram posts? Seems a bit ridiculous, right? You're probably thinking, in a dream world. Well, it turns out that dream world is actually a real place that real human beings are living in right now. Confused? Now let me explain. We are all too familiar with seeing ads on the internet. Whether it is while browsing our Facebook newsfeed or a sponsored tweet that pops up on your timeline, we are bombarded with companies telling us to buy this or that we need that. Sometimes their techniques are successful and actually convince us to give them our hard-earned cash. Techniques like constantly attacking us with advertisements for their products or services. I know you've experienced that creepy instance where you were casually scrolling through Facebook, seeing that Sarah's younger daughter went to the pumpkin patch today, or David got the internship of his dreams and appreciates everyone's support along the way. And boom, that pair of boots you were one click away from buying earlier that day is staring you straight in the face. Almost as if it's saying, "Buy me, please, buy me." And don't lie, you are almost persuaded to buy the boots because you think, it's a sign. Here they are again, I just need them, completely disregarding the fact that the website has gathered personal information about you while browsing their trendy shoes and is now stalking you. It's happened, don't lie. Or showing celebrities absolutely loving their products in hopes to convince us that we do too. Well, if Kim Kardashian wears Skechers Shape-Ups, that means that I have to wear Skechers Shape-Ups too. They must actually work if someone famous is wearing them. How credible! But once again, we neglect the marketing technique here. Let's be real, Kim Kardashian would not be caught dead wearing Skechers if it weren't for the large paycheck she's receiving for taking a couple of photos. It would be silly to say that this form of advertising is fully ineffective because, well, it's not. But there are other ways out there to advertise a company or brand, and they are truly just as successful, but come with a much lower price tag. Remember when I said that you can make a living off of the photos that you post on Instagram? Well, that is where this form of advertising comes into play. Brands are realizing that in this day and age, social media rises to the top of many prospective customers' lists in terms of importance. Somewhat sad, but unfortunately true. A recent study found that on average, a human being will spend up to 5 years and 4 months on social media in their lifetime. Did you know that in 5 years and 4 months, you can fly to the moon and back 32 times, walk the entire Great Wall of China 3.5 times, and watch the entire Simpsons series from start to finish 215 times? But nope, our generation's tech kids are liking their BFF's latest Instagram post, writing Facebook statuses, and retweeting that hilarious meme for 5 years and 4 months straight. With this realization, brands turn to social media users themselves to help promote their content. But they aren't just turning to anyone. There is a certain criteria you must meet in order for brands to want you to promote their products. Brands are looking for micro-influencers. What is a micro-influencer, you might ask? Well, let me tell you. According to Forbes, once an individual gains a certain following, usually ranging from 15,000 to 150,000 followers, they are said to have a strong social media presence and are now labeled as a micro-influencer. They aren't necessarily known as a celebrity, but they are at a level of fame where their audience is extremely active with their posts, leading to productivity outside of the digital sphere, which makes them desirable for companies to use as a marketing strategy. Usually, a micro-influencer has an obvious passion or clear aesthetic, meaning their Instagram accounts are dedicated targeted to a niche market, allowing for the targeting of a very specific audience. Some examples of areas in which micro-influencers are seen thriving in are food, health and fitness, beauty and fashion, and lifestyle and wellness. In using a micro-influencer to promote a product or brand, companies are able to work with account holders whose following is already into their brand type. There is no longer the struggle of reaching people who may not necessarily be interested in a product. For utilizing the micro-influencer's extremely specific following, rids of those uninterested. Let us not forget these individuals are being paid to fill your timelines with these posts, just as agencies and corporations are. But the friendly and intimate relationship between follower and influencer is much stronger. Studies have shown that users are more inclined to take advice from a media presence that they consider a friend than a larger corporation, leading to increased revenue and profits for both the micro-influencer and company. Research proves that today, nearly 200 million people use an ad blocking software, explaining the average percent of marketers who have switched to influence-based marketing reaching 81%. So, those pesky pop-ups that companies put thousands of dollars towards are really for nothing. This probably all sounds great, right? And you're probably now wondering how it all works. I happen to follow a handful of Instagram accounts that over the years have gained a significant following and are now consistently working with brands to promote their products. So let's look at an example to help break it down. Jeanette Ogden, or informally known as Shut the Kale Up on Instagram, is a health enthusiast and runs a health, fitness, and non-toxic lifestyle account. While she may have 186,000 followers, she's just a normal person. She's a young mom in her 30s with a kid and a musician for a husband. On a daily basis, she posts about the food she eats, healthy recipes, go-to restaurants, her toddler son, friends, and talented husband, and subtly scattered amongst these posts are advertisements. Now, it's not like she is randomly promoting a lawnmower or a perfume, an object that simply would not make sense in her life. But she is promoting products that would make sense in her life. Let's take a look at one of her most recent posts to her Instagram story, a vital asset to micro-influencers in advertising on Instagram. Here's the audio that I've taken from her most recent story about some bowls that were sent to her from a brand.
Just received the sweetest package from Avanci. These are the little bamboo silicone bowls with suction underneath them that we use for Elliot, and these are amazing, so we're so excited. See, these are really cool. You just press down and they stick. Mind you, Elliot already knows how to peel it off, but whatever. These are so awesome.
If it weren't for her blatantly telling her audience that she received these bowls in the mail, one watching her story might not recognize that it was even an advertisement. Because she's a mom who would actually benefit from such a product, the suction cup bowls make sense in her overall brand. If mothers of toddlers who are having trouble with mealtime saw this post, they might even purchase the bowls themselves. It seems real and raw, well, because it's her real life, and it just makes sense. One of the major advantages micro-influencers have over large advertising agencies is their tight connection with their audience. From my own experience, after following these accounts for only a bit, you feel like you really do know the person behind the screen. Over time, you learn more and more about them, and it almost feels like you're friends. Listen to this clip from Jeanette and try and tell me you don't feel like she truly cares about you.
It's just going to be a really good way to hang out, eat lots of good food, drink some juice from Juice Served Here, and just be. I feel like this community is so awesome and amazing, and we just want to give back by hanging out, answering lots of questions that you guys might have regarding lifestyle, fitness, health, mom life, just everything. And also, obviously, Sweet Green is donating some food and Juice Served Here with juices. So it's just going to be fun. And I hope to see you guys there.
It's clear that Jeanette really does care about her audience if she's taking the time to actually meet them in person and host this event. But it is also important to realize that this is a sponsored event and the brands that will be there might be paying her. But really, I see it as a win-win situation. You get the opportunity to meet someone that you follow and think of as a positive influence in your life, while she is also making money off of it so she could continue to do so. Now, when you think about people making a living off of their social media accounts, does it really seem that crazy? Yeah, okay, it is easy to argue that social media sites are a complete waste of time. But when you think about it in a different light, you start to realize the affordances that these sites actually do have and the impacts that they make on our lives. Brands reaching out to micro-influencers on Instagram and other social media sites is actually quite genius because they're still getting their brand's name out there in the world for a fraction of the cost. And the process may even be more successful. Now, I'm not saying we should all focus all of our time on becoming extremely successful on Instagram or reaching the level of micro-influencer. But I do want to stress the importance of being present in the world we live in and not relying so heavily on old practices and techniques. Allowing strangers to market a product was a risk, but a risk worth taking, for the results of incorporating micro-influencers into marketing platforms has shown positive results for both company and influencer. The next time you are browsing through Facebook or scrolling your Instagram feed, keep a close eye on what your followers are posting. They may even be selling you a product without you even noticing it.